Good morning. Welcome to Daylight with Dean number 71 on June 21st, 2020. I am so grateful to be with you here this morning on Father's Day, Sunday, Father's Day, always the third Sunday in June. And what a great way to start the day with you and my coffee. So let's enjoy that together. There you go. Hey, I want to share a couple things with you this Father's Day. First of all, I had a really, really nice surprise yesterday. Leslie and I went for a walk, and the last time we went for a walk, we came up our street and we turned left. And before we got half a block, we ended up having 2 half-hour conversations and didn't have much of a walk, but had a great time. Talked with some great neighbors, including Brian and Corinne, our neighbor down the street, our dear friends, and just had a fantastic visit with them. Well, last night I started Father's Day a little early. After dinner, I stretched out the hammock and I was really relaxing and just really enjoying it. It was about 7:30. I was set for the evening, and Leslie said those magical words, "Want to go for a walk?" I said, okay. So I woke up enough, got my shoes on. We headed out the door, and I start up the hill, and she's like, "Which way do you want to go? Left or right? Left or right?" I'm like, "Well, probably want to walk this time. So, do you want to walk? Do you want to visit? What do you want?" I'm thinking all this, and I'm like, "You know what, Leslie? It's your call. Your call." And so she said, "Well," she goes, "I'll go to the left." I said, "Leslie, I'll go whichever way you want." She said, "Okay, let's go to the right." So we went to the right. Got up to the right, went to where that street intersects with Freeport Road, crossed over Freeport Road, walked down just a hair. Right when we're walking down, this red pickup truck drives by, and for some reason, it was a beautiful pickup truck. Tinted windows, crew cab, 4 doors, Chevy Colorado, beautiful truck. And I'm like, "Wow, it's a nice truck." And my wife, she notices trucks. And so, just waved because something was a little like, I don't know if we walked in front of the truck or walked by. I don't know exactly. Something was just a little unique when the truck drove by. And so I waved, and we started walking down a side street. And within about 15 seconds, the truck is coming after us. And I'm like, "Oh no, what did I do?" And the truck pulls up in the middle of the street, rolls its window down, and it's our dear friend, Marlena. And Marlena is Corinne's sister, Brian's brother-in-law. Well, Marlena just got the truck that day. I'm sorry if that's not my news to share, but it's part of the story. She just got the truck this day. She goes, "Check out my new truck." I said, "Marlena, it's a beautiful truck." And so she parked in the middle of the street on this side street. And for about 20 minutes, we just stood there and talked and laughed. And Leslie and I had a delightful time. Caught up on all our stories and all that great stuff. And it was hilarious. So what was hilarious was she parked in the middle of the street. So every time a car would go by, they'd have to go around, and all of them did without honking, without trying to run us over, without being rude or anything, and had a great visit. Good to see a friend that I've not seen. I can't remember if I've seen Marlena since the middle of March. probably have and just don't remember now that I'm 53. Sorry. But it was so good to see a friend. And so the story continues. So now, she's like, well, Leslie's like, let's just walk down to, my mom's house, my mom and dad's house. So we walked down the street, pulled up, walked down their drive, their street, and went in, visited with them, had a delightful visit with them, just so much fun. It was their anniversary yesterday, as I mentioned, and we celebrated their anniversary with a surprise anniversary breakfast. It was a surprise for me at Neat Community Cafe, and oh my, Carlo, their chef, breakfast Saturday morning, it was an amazing breakfast, amazing. So if you're ever looking for a good breakfast place on Saturday morning, Neat Community Cafe is the place to go. So we had breakfast with them Saturday morning and just figured, why don't we just visit with them one more time at the end of the day. Went and sat and had so much fun. And then Leslie said, oh, my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, and my grandson live directly across the street from Doug and Carol. And she's like, well, Zoe's coming over. And I'm just thinking she's coming over to say hello to Gunny and Poppy. So sitting there, and she comes in, and Leslie's like, they're here. I'm like, okay. I'm sitting on the couch. Well, Zoe walks in and says hi to everybody, and her and Tyler each have something in their hand. And she goes, Dad, we have your Father's Day gift. And I totally unexpected, totally surprised, totally not prepared for that. And I'm like, that is the nicest thing. And she had a great card for me. And then she had these two books. My daughter is discovering the love of cooking. And Michael Simon, chef that does a lot of things. I know him from that cooking competition on the Food Network, Iron Chef America. And she has been watching his cooking shows on Facebook and loving them. And she knows how much I enjoy grilling and how I'm a carnivore at heart. So she bought me Michael Simon's book, just simply called Carnivore, 120 Recipes for Meat Lovers. And it's got some great looking stuff in there. And then Tyler gave me Michael Simon's Playing with Fire. It's all about grilling and all of that. So this is a big deal for two reasons. This is a big win for two reasons. First of all, my daughter and son-in-law, with no prompting of myself, bought me a Father's Day gift and surprised me with it the night before. That was way cool. Secondly, I love to grill, and I love all the meats that are in here, and so I look forward to all of that. But also, my wife loves a good cookbook, and she'll read a good cookbook the way she reads one of her novels. She just picks it up and starts reading all the stories. It's not about the recipe, it's about the stories. And so it's a Father's Day gift that works for two. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Tyler. Now, you may be looking, and here's the reason this was such a surprise for me. Because let me describe to you how earlier the Father's Day gift was going to take place. So we went to Sam's Club. My son Alex decided he wanted to go grocery shopping with us, and so we went grocery shopping together. We went up to Sam's Club and Walmart and Aldi up there because there were a couple things we needed that they only sell up there. And we decided to go into Sam's Club, and I had previously bought 3 new shirts, 3 habit shirts. This material that's great to wear in the summertime because you can sweat in it and it kind of whisks the sweat away from your body. It's lightweight, it breathes. And so I always go by that display where they have them. And I was so excited because they had 3 new shirts in my size that I've never seen. So now my size there is the purple tag. That purple tag, it's double extra large, XXL. So purple tag, very exciting. And they had 3 shirts up there. They had a white long sleeve shirt. They had a real cool blue long sleeve shirt, and I wore the gray long sleeve shirt last week on the boat because I can be outside in the sun with it and not put sun lotion on, not get burned, shave, all that good stuff. So I was so excited those. And then I found this shirt. I was so excited about this shirt. First of all, I love the color. Like on the way home, I was like, of all the shirts you got, I love that navy shirt. I was so excited about this shirt. Couldn't wait. I was just so thrilled that I found it in the double extra large with the purple tag. And so on the way home, Leslie's like, well, Dean, because I bought them. Like I bought everything from Sam's Club. I bought them, bought the shirts for myself, bought, all that. She goes, Dean, would you mind if we gave you those shirts for Father's Day? And I said, sure. You mean the shirts that I picked out and bought for myself, and you want to give those shirts to me? That would be fantastic. That would be great. Sure, absolutely. And then I said, but the only thing is, I want to wear that navy short sleeve shirt. I want to wear it for Father's Day on daylight. I want to wear it tomorrow morning for daylight. It's a new shirt. I like the blue. I want to wear it. She said, that's okay. That's great. So I hung it up on right by my closet. I woke up this morning, got everything set up, went in the room. Last thing, take the shirt off, and I unbuttoned the top 3 buttons, and then I put my arms up through it and put it on. And while I'm doing it, I'm like, wow, this shirt feels a little more snug than the other double extra large with the purple tags that I've bought before. I'm like, that's interesting. So I pull it over my head, I pull it down, I'm like, this either is not a double extra large shirt or I've put on like 75 pounds overnight because this shirt isn't fitting me too well. And so I'm like, what in the world? So I took the shirt off, I looked at the tag inside the shirt, and it's a large. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to put a double extra large torso in a large shirt, but it doesn't always work so well. Well, a couple things. I wanted to wear this shirt on daylight this morning, and so I decided to leave the tags on so I can return it because it's not the right size. Haven't sweat in it, don't worry about that. I'm just trying it on like you would in a dressing room. So I decided to leave the tags on. So if you're wondering what this is, that's that. And then when I was about to enjoy that extra minute this morning on daylight, as we started at 5:49 a.m. instead of 5:48, I thought, well, how about if this is my Target shirt? Like I want to, because I'm working out and losing weight and all that. What if this is one of my goal shirts that I have that I want to fit into? Do you have clothes like that? Those of you that your weight fluctuates somewhat, or you want to be at a certain place and you're not there yet, do you have goal clothing? Because I have about 2 pair of pants and about 4 shirts that fit in that category. And so the shirt was $16. So I may just keep it because it's a funny story and for the goal. And I like the color as well. Hey, sorry I went so long yesterday on daylight, but I just had a couple things I had to share, and I find I'm at the same place right now. shared those stories, but being Father's Day, I wanted to talk about my father for a minute, and it may take me just a bit. So if you give me an umbrella of grace, I want to talk about my dad. Um, I am so blessed to have had the father that I had. Larry Dean Ward was his name. I'm Larry Dean Ward II. So honored to be named after him. He went by Larry. I go by Dean, as you know. And so we, I had a friend call me after my sister and I talked both times out in Michigan earlier this week. And my friend said, Dean, you and your sister talked about your mom the whole time and never said one word about your dad. And I'm like, well, yeah, we were talking about setting goals and achieving big things and all that. And that wasn't really the energy my dad lived in. And she goes, well, just think it was interesting to note that you didn't talk about your father. And I said, I did not. And so on Father's Day, I just want to take a minute and talk about my dad. My dad was born in Randolph County in Archdale, North Carolina on May 24th, 1939. And my dad was just a calm, stabilizing force in our family and in my life. My dad was not an angry man. He didn't get worked up about a whole lot. He took things pretty calm and cool. And I remember I was about 13 years old, and my dad had a project. We put in a cistern. We lived out in the country, put in a cistern to get the water for our drinking water and for our house. And he had a friend come over and help do something with the block, and my dad wasn't going to be able to be home and do that. So he told me, when you get home from school today, son, this man's going to be there, and I want you to go give him a hand. I want you to be available for him. If he needs you to get something for him, you know where everything is. I said, okay, I can do that. And so we went. I remember being down at the cistern with this man who knew my dad. And he said one of the most important things to me that I've ever heard. 13 years old, you're trying to define who you are, trying to understand who your family is. You're getting around other kids, other people around their family, seeing the differences, different values, different way of doing things, and you're trying to sift it all out, And this man we were kneeling down by the cistern, and he just looked at me and said, your dad's a really good man. To have that third party verification from somebody that I didn't know, that didn't have a vested interest in sharing that with me, that's all I needed. That sealed the deal for me. I knew my dad was good, but having a different person speak that into my life, your dad is a really good man. And from that point on, it's like my dad was not just my dad, but he was a hero of sorts, someone to aspire to be like, someone to watch and follow. Now, my dad wasn't perfect. There were things that he did that I saw being his son. It's like, yeah, that probably wasn't the best, but dad was a good man. And the one thing that my dad did that I understood a little bit later, the older I got, is my dad loved people. My dad valued people. My dad enjoyed people. He was great to meet for breakfast at Lamplighter, great to meet for lunch at the Wagon Wheel, and just hang out with. My dad was calm. My dad was safe. Always felt safe around my father. He was, you know what I loved about my dad? Uh, he was the kind of person that you could say whatever you wanted to say and it wouldn't change anything. Especially if you were having a relational issue and trying to process through something. My dad would never take sides, but he would listen. And he was good and safe. And we would go hunting, the first few years of my marriage, and I'm just learning how to be a husband, just learning how to be, a man, and I vent some things to him, process through some things to him, and it didn't change anything for him. He didn't never looked at Leslie differently, never, just nothing significant, just trying to figure it out as a new husband and young man. And my dad was that kind of guy. And I have found that emulating that skill has served me well as a pastor because you get to hear both sides of the story. You get to hear both sides of an experience. And you're called to have grace and love for both and not pick sides and not ramp up and vilify one side. And my dad, he was the master at that. My dad was just fun to be around. My dad could fall asleep in a church service in 5 seconds flat. When I was a little guy, I used to love to watch it. I still do, but I love to watch the Steeler games. It was in the 70s. Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock was sacred time. I'd be on the couch. And my dad would want to watch the game as well, which was fine, except he'd want to lay down on the couch. And he took up the whole couch. I said, Dad, you're not going to watch the game. You're going to lay down, and in 5 minutes, you're going to be asleep. Please let me stay and watch the game here. Don't make me sit on the floor or find another seat. He goes, son, I need to lay down and watch a game. I want to watch a game with you. So I'd get up and move and would stay in the room, but he'd be asleep within 5 minutes and snoring. One time, our team, the Steelers, were winning, and the other offense was moving down the field and about to score, and my dad said out loud, we really need an interception about now. We really need an interception about now. And wouldn't you know, on the very next play, Jack Lambert, the middle linebacker of the Steelers, intercepted the ball. And I looked at my dad like, he's a genius. How did he do that? It was fantastic. My dad taught me to work on cars. I remember watching my dad being able to fix anything. And as a young kid, I said, man, I want to know how to do that. I want to learn how to do that. And it was very important to me. And so I began tearing stuff apart. Not quite as good at putting it back together, but began tearing stuff apart and fixing things. And I'm more of a that's good enough when it comes to fixing something. I don't have any real training in mechanical engineering or anything like that. I just kind of rig things back together, put them back together. And so I deeply appreciated that I saw my dad fix anything. And he bought me a 57 Ford when I was 16 and brought it home. I was turning 16 and it was wrecked. We tore fender, bumper off, splash pan off, grill off, and replaced those with the parts that he had from another car. And I learned to work on cars, learned to love the garage, learned some great things from my dad. My dad loved God. He loved God. He brought us to church every Sunday. Faith was part of his life, a significant part of his life. It enveloped every area of his life. My dad didn't compartmentalize his life between church and friends and work and recreation. They all blended together, and my dad was very congruent in how he lived his life. Many of you knew my mom. Less of you knew my dad because we started the river after his fatal car accident on his 64th birthday in 2003. But I have this fascinating dynamic of my mother's Tasmanian devil energy, tornadic kind of energy in me. And then I have my dad's calm, soothing, loving, not get worked up kind of persona. And those two in one person, you ought to try it sometime. It is a fascinating journey. Well, guys, I want to thank you for allowing me to share with you a couple Father's Day stories and just talk about my dad on this Father's Day. And, Dad, I can't wait till I get to see you again. As you said to me so often, I love you. Have a special daylight planned for you tomorrow morning. I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to make it happen and pull it off, but I have a special guest that I'm going to visit with, and you're really going to enjoy it. I cannot wait to introduce you to this special guest tomorrow morning, and look forward to sharing daylight with you tomorrow morning. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. If you have a father in your life, please remember to wish them happy birthday or happy Father's Day. If you are a father, happy Father's Day. The influence you have on children, your children, child or children, is lasting. Steward that well. Be a good steward of that. Now check out our service this morning, Sunday morning service, our Sunday morning online worship experience on the River New Ken Facebook page, the River New Ken YouTube channel at 8 a.m. or 9:30. We premiere those. And then later in the day, you can catch them anytime later in the day as well. And it's a Father's Day service, but the last third of the message is specifically for dads. So enjoy. Love you guys. Can't wait till I get to see you tomorrow. Thanks.